我係李業坤，江岸海山南屯，佢叫6天年來換過話，我見埋來這番薯，就要那小菜，要那兩海番薯，要那臘腸，要那卡辣啫，要那叉燒，係嗰樣啦。嗰啲買款咧唔需要攰，唔需要戒，唔需要煎咧，佢哋嗰啲臘腸、叉燒煮好食奶，好香康，講朝朝嘅學過來嘅，來我家那嗌咧，我咧下面都過嘅醬嘢食，我雖然我時時都知嗰啲菜個。
That's what's so great about Chinese food is that you can always throw in something a little different. It's called 炸酱面, and what it basically is a little bit of a fermented, I think it's fermented bean paste. And the noodles are distinctly northern Chinese because northern China was good for growing wheat. You use it in, so there's a lot of noodle-based foods in northern China. My grandpa is from the province of Shanxi, and he was taught. Whenever he comes over to our house, he knows how to make noodles by hand. He'll make the dough, he'll stretch it by hand, and that's what we'll have for dinner. We'll have handmade noodles, and we'll have the same sauce. But I guess this is easier for us because we can buy everything basically at TNT. So it's kind of an interesting cultural shift over time about how hard he used to work and how easy it is. Foods that he wouldn't be able to eat on a day-to-day basis are something that I can eat and do very easily in my kitchen now.
We substitute whatever we can, and then we're just content with missing a few things because it tastes enough of home, and that's all that matters. We're not really picky anymore. I was born in Subang Jaya in Malaysia, in Selangor, the state of Selangor, and to Chinese parents. So my dad is Hokkien and my mom is Hakka, and they're originally from different parts of Malaysia too. So dad's from Terengganu, which is a coastal town, and then mom is from Ipoh. So that's where I come from, but then I grew up in Brunei. The noodle dish, it's called wonton mein, which is wonton with noodles. So I guess if you eat it in restaurants, you can usually get it with the soup, so the noodles in the wonton soup itself, or you can get it dry, which is like gonlo. So it's got this dark soy sauce with the noodles, and then it comes with a bowl of wonton soup on the side. So that's what we're making today because I like the dry version, and that's the version my mom makes at home. Joan and I were noticing how this year, last year of our degree, we've been cooking a lot more Chinese food than we have in the past few years. Which was like, what is going on? And it's almost like wanting to rediscover a lot of these recipes that we grew up with. I think when we first moved to Vancouver, it was almost like this idea of, oh, everything's so new, there's like Italian food, we can cook pastas and we can make, you know, tortillas and like all these different
Eggs
cuisines.
Benedict.
Yeah, like it was such an exotic, to us, like this novelty, I suppose.
Yeah.
And wanting to explore these cuisines, and then now that we've almost exhausted all the options, we're going back to our roots, which is really interesting. Yeah, now that I think about it, I think having migrated a few times, not necessarily myself, but my entire family, and from what we can remember, I think that's really influenced the way we make our food because, you know, ingredient availability is a huge factor. If you can't find something, you usually find a substitution. And it's also part of the way we pass on the knowledge of recipes too, because nothing is ever written down. It's all word of mouth. It's just agar. They call it agaration now, right? It's like agar, like, oh, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Improvise.
And it's really down to your taste buds, yeah. So I remember yesterday night I was just checking with mom. Mom, am I missing anything? Like, tell me. And she's just like, oh yeah, just, you know, this soy, that soy, a bit of this, a bit of that, you know, just taste it. And I'm like, okay, I guess. you know, it's the best recipe that you have to work with. So it's really your own to make. So yeah, I don't know how authentic this is. This is authentic to us, I guess. For me, Malaysian Chinese living in Vancouver.
When I cook the dishes, we show the best of our culture. When I watch my children eat, it often reminds me of why we migrated. I actually grew up knowing my grandma because she lived close to home when she came with my mom. And when she came to live in the Philippines, she went to live with her cousins and she was treated like a maid. So that is where she actually learned how to cook because she was based in the kitchen, which actually turned out well for her because she was able to open up a small canteen, a small store, a small restaurant. And that was where she learned and managed to sell her skills as a cook. Every day I remember when I visit with my mom, she would teach me and always tell me, learn how to cook. And the very first dish actually that she taught me how to cook was actually sotanghon. Pancit is Filipino. Pancit is called noodles, right? In Hokkien, it's called mi. Ta mi. There it is. But because this is actually not ta mi, ta mi is a kind of noodle. This is actually ta sotanghon. It's vermicelli. Fried vermicelli. There is always a blend. Where we grew up in the Philippines, actually, we always had to add in a lot of sugar. We grew up with a lot of sugar. Anything that you eat in, whenever you cook your food, it has to have sugar. It's sugar-based. So even if we had to do our Chinese cooking, I guess it's the way we were brought up in. So we like to have something sweet too.
Usually John will be cooking with me. But it's organic. It's natural. Right, Joe? Your motto of naturalness. And then Chinese cooking is all about cooking together, no? Right.